Well, by then I'd done enough studying and learning about what bipolar was. So for me, you don't really have a choice in bipolar. It's an illness that exists in certain people that have bipolar, and so I looked at it as you didn't really have a choice in a lot of the things at the time, a lot of the things that you were doing because the doctor couldn't even give you any medications to help. And so for me, it was like I just felt like you didn't have a choice in it, but I did. Plus, I made the commitment, and so I stuck it out.
I know that you don't like this question, but I still want to know why you didn't leave. Like, I would not have blamed you if you'd left. That year was crazy. So I remember some of the things I do remember. I remember trying to get tattoos. I remember, some days feeling like I was so in love with you, and then other days feeling like I needed to leave you. I mean, I was swinging really bad from mania to depression during that year. And I look back on it, and I will forever be grateful that you didn't leave. But I don't understand why you didn't. I wouldn't have blamed you if you did. I'm shocked that you stayed. Do you know why you didn't leave? Like, why didn't you leave?
Well, by then I'd done enough studying and learning about what bipolar was. So for me, you don't really have a choice in bipolar. It's an illness that exists in certain people that have bipolar, and so I looked at it as you didn't really have a choice in a lot of the things at the time, a lot of the things that you were doing because the doctor couldn't even give you any medications to help. And so for me, it was like I just felt like you didn't have a choice in it, but I did. Plus, I made the commitment, and so I stuck it out. But it was hard.
I'm grateful that you did. So let's move on to happier times. So in 2010 was when I finally started the True Hope micronutrient treatment, and I would love for you to talk about what your perception was of what was happening with that. I mean, I think both of us were kind of desperate at that point. Nothing was working, and we couldn't find anything to help. And so, it took a while. The withdrawals were pretty bad. When I went through the withdrawal process from the medication and trying to get on the micronutrient treatment. But I don't know if you remember the day I woke up one day and I felt like it was the first time I was fully awake in like a decade. And I called you excited because I felt like my brain was awake for the first time. Do you remember that at all? Or
Yeah, I mean, it's once you start taking the supplements and along with the doctor nitrating you off of meds, there was a distinct difference. Your mood swings tended to be more towards the depression anyway. And, I always enjoyed the manic, Michelle, whenever you got that. But with the True Hope, it started to kind of balance things out so that there weren't such these huge, mood swings that I was used to. And so I was still really tentative and hopeful, but we had to wait because even over the first couple of years, there were still some times where you felt kind of to the more depression, and there were triggers. And one of the things, that you and I've been able to collaborate on is whenever I see that something's triggered you, I kind of notice and then tell you, hey, wait a minute, this is going on, this triggered you, so that we could just kind of manage the mood swings while everything was kind of still in transition, if that makes sense.
yeah, but it was. I actually asked you to help me know, and at the beginning it didn't go so well. I like bite your head off when you try to tell me I think you're getting manic or I think you're getting depressed. That didn't go so well. What did that feel like to you? I mean, what did it feel like to you to have me ask you to do something and then you do it and then I'm like biting your head off for it?
That's why I hit the golf course a lot. The golf course is my meditation, my zen.
Yeah.
During those times, I would do that. But I took a lot. And but I was just trying to help you to get healthy.
Yeah.
And some of that is just bipolar. And then in a marriage, people have to understand what the bipolar looks like and what is bipolar and what isn't.
Yeah.
And over the years, you just kind of learn.